you all as Malaysians should have some common ground of understanding. Right now, right, we all just say we understand, but we don't really experience. But right, we as Malaysians, at least to have a simple conversation like this shouldn't be so difficult.
Yes, I think SJK set a very unrealistic environment for what's real for Malaysia. Malaysia is a multicultural country, and if you go to school in a monocultural environment, it is definitely going to shape your thoughts, the way you behave in a different way that is not in line with the way the rest of the country functions.
Yeah, I agree with you because the whole thing which I brought up earlier, where you had the divide of people like difficult communicating with one another, just in general, just because people cannot communicate with one another because of the language barrier, it's enough as it's enough of an argument to say that it's not helping the national unity cause.
So for starter, I'm thinking that racial disunity does not cause by vernacular school or whatever school you are coming from. Because I'm from Tamil school. I only studied 6 years in the Tamil school until I'm 12 years old. After the 13 years old, I just come to secondary school. So of course I can see a lot of Malays, a lot of Chinese, a lot of Indians, or rather all the mixed races. And plus, you see, countries like Malaysia, we are multicultural. It is normal to be racist. Bro, you go to every country, bro. There's a racist because they are black, they're racist because they're white. They call you all kind of names. They're always gonna be a division between humans. Humans are divided. So the real thing is that what I see separate nations is politics. Schools doesn't benefit from the racism, but politics do. So that's the thing we have to see first.
I have friends who studied SJKC and then they went to mainly Chinese independent high school and then they went to Taiwan. And then when they come back, I don't feel that they are racist towards any other races. In fact, I feel that they know that there are things that they don't know because of their one-wayness.
Like my opinion, even though in future probably I have kids, I will send them for SJK, then SMK, because they are already familiar with their mother tongue.
Okay.
Then they start learning. I think it will be faster. Then go to SMK, easier for them.
But don't you think because they're already speaking your mother tongue at home, it's better to send them to an SK school?
But kids always like this. They already used to use like English or Malay. They won't like to learn another language. They want to skip one.
Right? We're going to school to learn,
they won't. For based on my observation, I mean throughout my friends, like they went to SK, then they hardly they will continue learn Mandarin.
Which means when they keep going to a vernacular school, they're going to constantly be speaking in their mother tongue, and then when they go to an SMK, they're going to be more comfortable speaking in their mother tongue, which means they're going to be cliquish. They're going to find other people who are more comfortable speaking in their mother tongue as well. From my experience, when I've seen people come from Tamil school and come into an SMK, that's what happens. They find each other, and then they are more comfortable speaking in Tamil, and then they are cliquish.
The important thing to note is that just because you go to SJK doesn't mean you're racist. What the point here is that how do you help the national unity cause? How do we understand each other better? I think this is more important than saying that you go to
you're not racist. You're not against another race, but you're so comfortable with your own race, your own mother tongue, speaking that way and culturally functioning that way, that you are less likely to mingle with another race.
Basically saying, why seek discomfort when you can be comfortable?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay to be cliquish.
Oh, I
no. So that's the thing. If we really say that we are multicultural, right? We should be comfortable literally going to anybody and not feeling a distance between them. Honestly, I feel like 7 to 12 is the one that you should do the multi-language, and then after that you want to go to your different languages. It's fine. Yeah, but your earlier education, I think like you all as Malaysians should have some common ground of understanding. Right now, right, we all just say we understand, but we don't really experience.
I think I can help
Yeah.
paint your picture. Like for example, for me, I play like this card game. It's just a normal fun card game, but majority of the players there are Chinese centered. And even though we share the same hobby, it's so hard for me to break the middle ground to talk to them or share a conversation about what this is. And it's not because that they don't want to, or not because I don't want to. It just feels like there is a barrier there, an unspoken barrier that it's unaware of by me or unaware of by them. Playing the same thing and we're enjoying
There's
the
an
same thing.
invisible line there.
Yes,
there's
yes,
like a
yes.
invisible line
yes.
there.
And I'm sure, like, even in having this conversation, there's like small lines that we feel like, hey, can I say this thing here? Can I say this thing? But right, we as Malaysians, at least to have a simple conversation like this shouldn't be so difficult.
Psychologically, in the early ages, the children should be learn things in their mother tongue so that they can understand that. Let's say you teach science and maths in Tamil or science and maths in Mandarin. Okay, let's say like in my household, our first language is Tamil.
Okay.
If let's say I go to the SK school, okay, that will be my secondary language, like Malay or English. If I learn maths and science in that language, it will be very hard for me to grasp.
But
That's
that's why
psychologically.
they're going to school to learn, and in your formative years is when it's most important for you to learn.
It doesn't work like that.
Maybe I got your point. If let's say I can't really communicate with the teacher, then how can I really learn that subject? Not everyone can afford to pay tuition fee.
That's an interesting point.
That's fair.
Yeah. So it's kind of like putting more burden on the children.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
When I was in primary school, I mean, all my class and all other classes will have, every day will have minimum, I don't know, 5 to 7 exercises. If you put your kid go through that kind of responsibility since they were kids, I think it instills some resilience in them. So I think that it's a part of character building.
Can I actually join in? I think I agree.
Yeah.
I would also kind of agree, mainly because I had a friend who was studying in a SJK school. Then when she went to high school, she had to go to an SK. And she was culture shocked because mainly of how serious the kids take their education is completely different. If the teacher doesn't come, they will still be doing their work and try to keep up with their syllabus. But if we go to an SK school, teacher doesn't come, oh, party bro.
I don't think disciplinary action is necessarily reflective of how good the education is. Quality of education comes from the educator, which can vary throughout SJK and
In this case,
and
yeah.
yes, and as
Some people who comes up from SJKC or student sponsor will end up in Sekolah Bangsa and go to uni and stuff. Cannot really communicate with one another. I think that is the bigger problem, and vibes are very different. So no, just not particular language, but like the work ethic, the way of looking into things and all that. So it's like a question of like how you really define education. Like, okay, you be good at maths and you're really hardworking, but like what about but what about like your conversational skills and like to operate on your day-to-days and all that stuff? Because even if you go to SK also, there'll be good and bad students, and like it's somewhat
Totally agree with you. Because I'm from SJKC and end up SMK. Those students from SJKC, they are more isolated. Actually, when I enter SMK, then it's a bit difficult for me, like mix around because it's different culture. I mean, it's different races, but it helped me a lot. Like I can communicate better. But I totally feel it's not about the education system. It's more like the culture and the environment. Maybe education is very important, but for me, like communication, like with people, for me, it's more important than the rest.
But I do agree with what you said about when they come out, people from SKs who are like, for example, quote unquote, they are the bananas, and then they're all Chinese by the way, so it's Chinese and Chinese, but the SJKC ones, they will have a slightly more rigid social circles. It's hard to get in, it's hard to get out.
Yep.
They are more resistant to you joining them. They are also not super open to come on and hang with you.
Yeah. Should get the same funding.
Should almost the same.
More lah. Only one more.
Get the same.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Interesting.
I know, a bit contradictory. It's a tool for unity, but if we are working on the premise that it exists, then the kids' education is most important.
Yes, I completely
So if let's say there's a kid, the allocation for SK, SJK should be the same.
Yeah.
Definitely, the kids deserve the best.
I agree.
Yeah, the same as everyone.
Exactly. I've heard stories like from, I don't know, like from my parents or people I grew up with, is that when an SJC, it's mainly funded by the parents of the kids. Is that true?
I think at least last time lah. I think now we still have like a year. When I was studying, we still have like a yearly donation drive. I think then that's where the parents will.
Or the parents will come and chip in kind of doing it. That's actually
Not only parents, I think those the businessmen and so forth.
okay.
A lot of effort lah. Today, to show you.
And for every year, they will always reminded us how did our ancestor fought very hard to, put vernacular school in place. All the way up from the businesses tycoons, down to like people who, I don't know, mop the floor. Everyone will chip in just to keep the kids in school.
Yeah.
So every year we are reminded of it, so which is true, which happened in the year.
So for just clear my standing, I agree in certain extent. The government should pay the salary, the basic needs of all school, not like same as SK, because see, like SK school, they are obligated to build minimum 6 acres.
Okay.
6 acres. But in Tamil school, you see, they are only 3 acres. Some schools don't have field. You can surprisingly tell that some Tamil schools have swimming pools, Yeah, the field become like swimming pool when it's raining.
Okay, I see.
But there's one thing I need to register here. One of the reasons Chinese schools are very good because they are coming up with their own money.
Yeah, that's
Because-
actually quite admirable.
Let's say I give 500 ringgit or 50,000 ringgit to build a day one. I can come and scold the contractor. Hey, why are all this one like this? What I cannot? I want the
Sour.
ownership of the school. But if you let the government to do this farm, they can do whatever they want. You cannot come and complain also. But that actually helps the vernacular school because the money coming from was from our own community.
I guess that's a benefit. I guess I am just saying that they should get like equal amount. I'm saying this in terms of like from a parent's point of view. Like you are already sending your children off to school and you have to fund for the school so they can continue being in that school, and then you have to think about their high school, their college. It becomes like a lot of burden to the family. Of course, it's burden that they would love to take anything for their children, right? But I guess like maybe with more funding, the parents can a little bit, like relax and feel a little bit more welcome or accepted in the country.
I guess what you're trying to say is you don't want to depend so much on the government. Is that what you're trying to say? Right.
We all forget that SJ, there's a K there as well.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we all are agreeing to this. I think just thinking of how you spend the money. But I think the bottom line is the gross per capita should be the same for every kid.
Yeah.
I always had a hard time identifying why is this so important. I can speak bahasa Melayu, tak ada masalah, aku boleh cakap macam biasa. But I just find it so weird, the fact that my racial identity or how much I know about my racial identity would affect whether I would pass or fail.
I strongly believe that the purpose of language is for communication. So if we can speak Malay or even English fluently, we can go. Especially the Bahasa Melayu become Bahasa Kebangsaan. So if let's say you take Jawi, put into Bahasa Malaysia, so it's a bit hard for those other races to learn. I just want to master Bahasa Malaysia for communication purpose, and then for my Bahasa Bangsa.
I want to ask you, bro. Bahasa Jawi is a different language or just the script is different?
No, that's it. It's just the scripture is different. Just the scripture different.
Still Bahasa Malaysia.
Yeah, we will make the same sound. So
It's still Bahasa Melayu, right?
yes, boleh. You can write down dalam bahasa Melayu apa masalah hari ni, or you can also write it down in Jawi apa masalah. Yes, and they will make the same sounds and they will produce the same speaking.
I think it's fine.
So, but
I think
yeah,
it's extra knowledge.
extra knowledge.
Another thing is like for the linguistic side. Let's see from the linguistic side. Before the British came, it was Jawi, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Martabatkan bahasa Melayu. I think the people are afraid because it's bahasa Melayu different from bahasa Jawi. It's just a script, different script. Like Tamil, right? Tamil. It's in a romanized. We can write in a Tamil scripture also.
Okay.
In my time in school, it was not evaluated in my exams, but in bahasa in agama Islam lah. But yeah. But in BM they will never this one. But if you are saying that put Jawi into the BM, this one just as one chapter of something to learn about how the linguistic history of it, which I think is perfectly fine.
I think any system should be built. Every system should be built based on merit, and not any other kind of structure.
Yes,
Right.
I think I totally agree with you because why? Like you want to evaluate a person really know that subject or not, then you base on merit, and I think easy to differentiate whether you understand or you can. Like we can't say those students they are not mastered in their subject to further their study. Like you are very weak in science and mathematics, you can't be a scientist.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Because what's the opposite of meritocracy? It's like quota system, right? We have a certain quota to meet for a certain race, and then therefore you are given opportunities to further your studies in uni as opposed to based on your results, solely on your results.
True.
That's how it should be.
Okay.
I think we should stand behind.
Yeah.
You would
Okay. So the main thing I am going to address here is the brain drain of the country. When you don't reward people according to the merit, which is a qualified, the term qualified people, what they will do, the qualified people won't just disappear from the earth. They will migrate to a country which have a better option.
Yes, there needs to be a meritocracy because avoid the brain drain. You should award people who are talented. This I think is a non-negotiable. But I think the other part of it is also we have a social responsibility as a nation, as people, right? Why those kids who don't do well or like don't get opportunities, we should be providing them opportunities as well.
Should be bettering their education.
Correct.
To make sure that they then perform.
Correct. Yeah.
I think like what he's trying to say, just jump in.
Yeah.
So I think we already discussed it.
Yeah.
Because we are sending these kids off to college or good colleges because of what we see on their exam paper, right? And let's say you don't have actually the best resource to go to school, to get all these resources. You might not do well in the exam paper, but you understand everything. Like you understand what you're supposed to do. But just because you got an A or a C, that shows who you actually are or what you actually know as a person. But it could just be your opportunities, just like when the COVID time hit and there were so many people in like the Sabah and Sarawak area that couldn't go to school, that couldn't get access to the internet. All their education was capped. Like this is what the best that they could achieve compared to people who were in the city and they were able to do. Are we gonna say the kids in the city deserve more because they were fortunate? Does that show how smart they actually are as a person?
If it's a complete meritocracy, means that only the odds of success is like 90% on the Bandar list. To say that complete meritocracy is so brutal.
It is. It's kind of like in a sense where, for example, like in Finland, they don't use merits when they teach kids. They just teach kids. They do exercises, they let them learn, and then if they see them struggle, they will help out with the struggle and fill in that gap. And they don't assess everyone's knowledge based on the merit that they have. They believe that everyone knows what they're supposed to know, everyone knows a little bit more, everyone knows a little bit less on certain things. And in some way, in some form, their education system is booming and is thriving, and they are able to help within their community and build great scientists, mathematicians, engineers, and all within a system that's not based on merit. So I feel like the only reason we all are agreeing or understanding this whole merit concept is because we're so used to this. This is our norm.
I'm actually sort of okay with meritocracy, but I don't like how it's being graded now, which is like only one benchmark, for example, which is how much you score, for example. But at the same time, I can't think of a better way to how do you access this person, you know, like what we mentioned earlier, like can you communicate well? Those things will come into play. I don't know, if you're a doctor, if you're an engineer, you're gonna build building, you have to collaborate with 100 people. You have to be able to talk, not just draw. So those things should come into play as well. But those things are not graded as much, I feel.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's like the problem, right? Because you just leave something so simple. It's working. Inside your head, oh, it's working. All the smart students are going somewhere. So you're looking at all the upsides, but you're not acknowledging the downsides that's also bringing. And if you don't put more, like if you don't converse about this more, if you don't talk about it more, then it will never change. So I guess like that's the whole point of us bringing this topic first, right? Yeah.